Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Duncan, intuitive medium and host of Behind the Scenes with the Rescue Mediums. For anyone unfamiliar, Rescue Mediums was a hit TV series that was filmed from 2006 to 2011 and can still be seen in many countries around the world on veryparanormal.com and on YouTube. Mediums would visit people's homes and rescue the spirit into the light. Please help me welcome 4 people who made this groundbreaking series possible so the rest of us could enjoy it and the rest of us could learn from it. Edna Dargie, Director of Research. Michael Lamport, Producer, Writer, Narrator, Actor. Jackie Dennison, Rescue Medium, International Clairvoyant Medium, Psychic Artist. And Alison Wynne-Ryder, Rescue Medium, International Medium, and author of the great book, The Quirky Medium, The Extraordinary Life of an Unlikely Clairvoyant. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, Sandy.
Happy Valentine's Week. They tell me.
Yes.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
That means warmer weather. I forget the groundhog. I think it's Valentine's Day. That means warmer weather for everybody.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed last week and Edna, and learning about the dissection and the skeletal frame of an episode. And we got through day 1, which was great. And lots of interest. So today I'm hoping we can pick up at day 2. Okay, Edna?
Perfect.
Okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. There's one episode in particular. I'm just going to give you a little update. And for everybody watching, you can have an update too. It's episode 55. It's Brampton, which is season 5, episode 5, if you want to look it up. And there were 2 homeowners, Alison and Faith, and one of those ladies was a skeptic, which doesn't always happen in the show, but that was great.
Announced that she was going to Halifax for a week, so I arranged to have one of my friends come and stay with me. All night long, I could hear the door opening and closing, someone going up and down the stairs. And then the next morning, he assumed it was me and I assumed it was him.
I'm a real skeptic when it comes to these things. I don't think I want to believe that there's anything happening, but I heard the sound of a woman. That was a little unnerving.
The investigation started in the basement and then it went to the top floor. Alison had a vision of an injured dove. I believe as part of the premonitions.
An injured or a trapped bird. And this was after a dream I had, a bird in the kitchen. And it was a white bird, a bit like a dove, and it was injured. And I was trying to get to it to save it.
The room felt like it was spinning and Jackie saw a swirling mist.
Swirling, just swirling round and round. Spinning feeling.
Everything will be moving and it's almost like wild, like out of control.
Going down. I'm just going to sit down for a minute.
A feather that Alison had drawn matched one in the home, pointing towards the basement.
And the feathers in the eagle's head there.
Look,
It's the feather I've drawn.
it's pointing
Down.
We need to go.
Down.
This premonition made manifest seems to predict that significant discoveries are waiting in the basement.
Jackie was overshadowed by a soldier who'd been on a ship.
Jackie.
I'm cold. I'm on board a ship. I'm gonna die.
Are you sure you're not already dead? Jackie.
Jackie is overshadowed by the powerful spirit.
The gentleman's name ended up being Thomas Irvine of Scotland. His son was killed in battle and buried in Flanders, and the wife also passed. And as Michael, as narrator, pointed out in the episode, 21 doves is, in military terms, means the release of spirit. And I've got goosebumps even just going over the story, so I can't imagine what it does to everybody else.
Of the white bird.
The dream that I had of the bird in front of the window. The fact that the bird was trapped, this sort of say there is going to be a trapped spirit.
Birds often symbolize the soul's release in death. While military funerals feature the release of 21 doves, Alison's vision of the white bird trapped in the house unites these two meanings, shedding great light on the spirit of Thomas Irvine.
How do you remember that episode?
That was really, the dove, that got me too, you know, because we didn't know that, did we, Alison? You know, when you got that premonition, and it was through a dream, wasn't it? You had the premonition through a dream.
Yeah, it was through a dream. A lot of the clues, not all of the clues, obviously, I got from premonitions, were from dreams, because I've always had prophetic dreams from being a kid. But it was a white bird, like a dove, at a window in a kitchen. That's what I saw in the dream. And it was flapping, it was panicking, it was trying to get out of the window, and I was trying to help it. And I remember waking up feeling really frustrated that I couldn't do anything to help. But when we walked into that kitchen, Jack, I think I grabbed hold of your arm and I went, because it was exactly the kitchen that I'd seen in my dream, and it's like my heart just went, don't. That white bird, do you remember that dream I said to you? I saw a white bird, and I was walking into the kitchen, it was ahead of me, and it was flapping, and it was injured. I'm pretty sure it's symbolic, but in what way, I don't know.
Well, birds are messengers, aren't they?
The ladies enter the kitchen.
This is where I was.
Is this the kitchen you saw?
Yeah, yeah.
But for Alison, it may not be the first time.
And the bird was there in front of that window. And he didn't know he was dead. I think that was the one. He didn't know he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a fascinating episode. And Sandy, when you're asking, like, what do we all remember from that episode? Sadly, I'm going to take it out of the psychic realm and say what I remember is I couldn't find parking. I didn't know where to put my car. I know that sounds really rude and inappropriate. That's the truth.
You remember that distinctly. Isn't it funny? It's really strange, that, isn't it? You know, what you do remember regarding certain episodes. But when we were doing the rescue, because you were overshadowed very strongly, Jackie.
Yeah.
What made me laugh when I had to look at the episode again, and I went to you. Oh my God, that was such a difficult one. It was so hard, but it looked like it had lasted 5 minutes for both of us. But it had been more like an hour, and I just remember that. And I actually didn't know what to do to start with. And you can see my face is bright red, my cheeks are bright red, like I'd worked. And I was listening to what my guide was saying about get him to walk along the path, bring those colours in, and you know, get him on his way. Yeah. But you were like, you were on. I just remember you were like this, and I was thinking, oh, and I actually said, oh Jesus, and they kept it in. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Jackie is overshadowed by the powerful spirit.
Jeez. Right.
Alison quickly realizes that the only way to rescue Jackie is to rescue the spirit.
I'm going to send you over to the light, okay? You're already dead. You're just going over and over this in your mind. I'm going to draw lots of bright colours, okay?
It really was. I mean, you handle that so brilliantly. But you know, that's how we work, isn't it? We work with each other. Our guides are working, advising us what to do. But I remember him being so, it was like the bottom had just dropped out of his world, and it was like he was just back there in that instant.
Oh yeah.
Remembering that time, and that's what I'd sort of trapped him, because everything sort of came to that point.
Hard work one that was. I panicked for a minute there because I thought I'd lost you there.
I could see it so clearly, Alison. I was just so totally there with him. Okay.
Of course, we allow the overshadowing so we can get the story out there. And it was, as you say, it was really, really strong. I think I sort of had this is very often with me. I have a vacant look. Right? I think I had this sort of vacant look where he completely, overshadowed.
Yeah.
And you were aware. I think that's probably at the point where you go, you went, oh, geez.
I went, geez, because you're just completely gone.
Yeah.
But all the way through, we were both, and we had that horrible smell. And obviously, it's only sort of like when all research comes in at the end that you actually realise that smell was, because I felt I was down in the ground.
That's right.
And he was obviously in the trenches. Can you imagine what he went through?
Horrible smell, like human sort of excrement.
Yeah. Oh God, I can smell it now.
It's disgusting.
Oh, I can smell that now. Oh,
okay, just let me try and...
Okay. Dean, Robert, there's some enlisted in the Canadian Infantry. Thomas also enlisted.
Father and son were sent overseas to fight in World War I. Thomas was 41. His son Robert just 18.
When we were doing the investigation, Alison felt as though she was underground.
I'm in something that's sort of hollowed out.
Both Thomas and Robert fought on the Western Front, where soldiers lived and fought in the squalid conditions of deep trenches.
I was like, he overshadowed me at one point, and I felt like punching someone because he was going over and over and over.
Yeah.
You know, what happened, you know.
Somebody fighting. Really big fight. I could really have a go at somebody. And I'm like, I'll give you a bird.
I remember with that the girls themselves, well, certainly one of them, I think it was Alison, not Faith, was aware of like hot spots in the house. I think she described it as hot spots in the house.
The hot spots in the house would be the basement, as well as upstairs where the bathroom and the spare room and our room is.
Like, you'd go to one place and it would feel warm, you go to another place, it would feel cold. But that was really how we felt, Alison, wasn't it, when we were in the house? Because I remember when I was working with, when we were working with helping him to go over because he was trapped on, but I felt really, really cold. I could feel the difference in the energy, that cold.
Cold, chill.
I'm cold.
And no, he didn't die on that ship, which was what was interesting. He didn't die, I think, until 1920 something, 1922, 23, something like that. Anyway, but he had been trapped in that memory of being. I think he'd been shot and he was being transported back. But his son was also in the same war, and his son did die. You know, in so he's got all of that. Yes. In his mind.
So we knew somebody was with us, but we didn't know who it was at that point. We were soon to find out. He's coming to the hallway. And it felt as though he'd been away a long time, and I actually said, across the sea. Very sad was his son, Robert, was actually shot by a German sniper.
On August the 23rd, 1917, the Brampton Conservator wrote that the saddest part of the father's homecoming is that he had to leave his son buried in the shell-torn fields of Flanders.
And we had an image of a lady, I think it was in the premonitions, of someone looking out through a window.
Yeah, that's it.
And the girls had said yes to that. That they were aware of that. They felt as though somebody was doing that.
Figure that's been seen by a window.
Inside, looking out.
And shivers all over.
She couldn't see him. They were sort of like ships, for want of a better word, passing in the night.
The woman coming in.
A woman.
She's looking out through the window. She's waiting. your attention.
She can't see it.
I know. But he thinks she should.
I do remember those cold spots.
Yeah.
And then the feather that I drew pointing down into the basement, which is obviously where we ended up having to go.
Yeah.
Look.
It's the feather I've drawn.
It's pointing down. We need to go.
This premonition made manifest seems to predict that significant discoveries are waiting in the basement.
But it's funny that you say about the basement and everything else like that. So do you think that the soldier or the guy lived in that house?
Do we think he lived in that house?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Can you remember, Edna, how they said, or when it started, when they started experiencing the activity?
I'd have to look it up in the records, but I don't have the file in front of me right now. But I've got a feeling he did live in that property.
Yeah.
Right. He actually lived in the property.
I'm sure he did.
I can't remember. I just can't remember.
Health deteriorated, suffering with all these illnesses, and he died very, very suddenly, and he died in this house.
Yeah. The episode that we're talking about, do you have on the call sheet what our arrival was?
No, they didn't list the arrival. It's really just a timesheet of the breaking out the times during the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually state what the specific arrival was.
I think we were walking, weren't we? I think
you were.
On that one. I'm pretty sure. I think.
Were we?
Oh, hang
It's a driven reality.
It's a very blustery day, isn't it? I'm glad I'm in the car and not outside.
Yeah.
Jackie and Alison are renowned psychic mediums who spend their days and nights showing wayward spirits into the light.
So did we will have filmed that though on day 2, won't we, Edna? Whatever the arrival was, you would have filmed it on day 2.
That's right. You just had a very full day on day 1.
Yeah.
And it got back to the hotel very late.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, on the day 2 of the shooting, you'd have to dress exactly as you were on day 1, because on the show, it's as if it's the same day.
Yeah.
So it's important for continuity to make sure you have the same earrings and whatever, that it's exactly the same.
Yeah, that I mean, that's the logistics of doing a show like this, or like anything, is that if you're filming over a certain period of days, on day 2, 3, 8, whatever you're doing, you've got to look the same as you were on day 1, because the editors need to put the thing together. And sometimes if we all look at TV or movies, we can see sort of discrepancies sometimes. And I think they're fascinating. It's sort of like, wait a minute, where did that blue earring come from?
Didn't they took photographs of what we were wearing, I think, on day 1. Photographs were taken and notes were made.
Yes.
Wasn't that right, Edna?
Yes, to keep that continuity.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the day 2, episode was shot in October, late October. So for day 2, they wanted to make sure in that particular house that the rescue would be shot in darkness in the house. So the crew actually arrived at the house at 3 o'clock, and they spent an hour shooting recreations of what had happened the day before and setting up for the rescue, because you would always indicate to Michael or Greg where you would want the rescue to be filmed in the location, or at least what you thought from your walk around the day before, what would be the the best spot, but it didn't always turn out to be that, did it?
No, we have to move sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Edna, you are so precise in what you say and what you do. You're like, well, at 9:03 p.m. we did this.
Because I've got a very precise call sheet in front of me. That makes it easy. And the ladies, you would have been expected there by 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, you would shoot the arrival from the day however you were supposed to arrive the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about the only thing I think that's shot out of sequence. With the show. And then from 5 to 6:30, I guess we might have slipped out to get a little dinner. And meanwhile, the crew is shooting the sunset, a time lapse, POVs, ghost cam pickups. And it said sandwiches on set for them.
It's interesting that you say stuff like that. And for people that are watching that don't know what a POV is, it's just like a point of view. It is really fascinating. I mean, there's nothing wrong with shooting an arrival on Rescue Mediums the day after Jackie and Alison have done something, because it's not taking anything away from the show. It's just saying like, okay, so now we've got to do this. And then in the editing, we just paste it together and it becomes what it becomes.
It was logistics, wasn't it? Because, because on day one, we filmed the premonitions, and then the crew have to go to the location where they film the homeowners. So they're busy. They don't have any downtime at all from that. So then when we go out to the homeowners, they're already there. The setup, the lighting's already there. And so we go straight into us talking to the homeowners and having the initial walkabout. And then, of course, the crew are still there when we leave. So there's no time to do the arrival. So it's one of the only made up bit is the arrival and the cheers at the end. Yes. Everything else is it is as it is. So
no, I agree, and you're absolutely right, Jackie. And what I think is interesting about this, because as a producer, of course, everybody wants to have more money to do a show, but I love the fact that we are doing a low budget show that is so successful.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Dedication. And everybody loves the show. Everybody who works on the show loves the show. And I think that comes across, in they want, I mean, I know that like the camera guys and the light, we use the lighting, they do their own lighting as well. But the cameras and the sound, I know they're all experts in their own field, and they want the best out of it to show the best in the show. But I really feel, and I think we all do, that they went the extra mile with Rescue Mediums because of how much they love to be part of it. And we've had the same team, right from the beginning, right the way through. We're a family, Rescue Mediums is a family.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think of there were several camera people.
Yes.
But the two that obviously resonate with me would be Mike Andringa and Stefan Ranstrom.
Yeah.
And they were so dedicated to the show. They would do anything to get the shot. Like spinning in a wheel of a carriage in Niagara Falls. That would be Stefan. And they would do anything. And they were really committed. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And I wonder, because I don't know how we would explore this. I wonder if Spirit went through them and said, like, you know what? This is a really important show to do. So please do it as best as you can. I would love to think that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that, you know, Spirit are very much, well, Spirit is the reason this show is happening, isn't it? So,
yeah,
you know, and that's where it comes from. So, but even the sound, like we've had, you know, we've had different sound people that have come in and out, but you know, the main guy that's been with us right the way through is Jason Milligan. He was so you know, to the point of sometimes I could see Greg going like, really, do we have to have it like as quiet as that? He would even like test the materials that we were wearing of our clothes for like a noise. No, you can't. So Alison and I found ourselves when we were out with our dresser, Trish, who would choose the clothes for us, and we go, what does it sound like? What will Jason? We were terrified of getting the wrong material, so it would create a sound. Yeah, that, you know,
and the jewelry as well. I remember on, you know, where we do the initial premonitions, where we find out what each of us have got. So we dress in our own clothes. And I remember I had this necklace on, and I got told off because it was a clangy necklace. And then I think I wore, I don't know if it was something stripes or with dots on or something, but it made everything go all strange. So, but you know, we had a laugh with him. I mean, he was brilliant. I mean, the whole crew were brilliant, weren't they? And we, you know, we really did have fun. You know, it's serious what we're doing. Obviously, helping the homeowners and the rescue and all of that. But, you know, when the show's finished, you know, and then, you know, when we've had the wrap parties and stuff, you know, it's so interesting speaking to everybody, and just everybody's like, oh, you know, but then they're rooting for the next season to come in, and, you know, it's just lovely. It was a joy to work on, really, you know, and it's great that it's so popular even now, you know.
I agree. And you talk about the necklace thing.
Yeah.
Because as a producer and an actor, the thing is, in real life, we can hear the necklace. And it's sort of like, why do you have to remove the necklace? Because that would be a real sound. And I have a problem sometimes with sound people, because they go, oh no, wait a minute, I can hear an aircraft. It's like, okay. So if we were shooting the scene, there would never be an airplane flying over us.
Yeah.
And they just were like, no, I can't do that.
But, you know, that must be great for the editors, because our editors do a fabulous job.
Yes, they do.
And to have clean sound must be, you know, the thing that they go, oh, this is so great, you know, that they've, you know, the only time we couldn't stop for anything is if we were in the middle of a rescue, you know, so we, you know, if there's an airplane going over at the time that we're helping Joe Bloggs go through to the light, then, you know, I'm afraid there's an airplane going over. You know, we're living in this century, not the century that the spirit's in that we're helping over, you know, so that's the reality of it. But Jason used to put like sticky tape on the back of the necklaces, didn't he? And
that's right. He used to do that. Yeah, he did that in the end because, you know, it stopped them moving. But, you know, I could tell that he wasn't impressed with that particular necklace. So I made a point not to wear it again, especially when he was a sound guy, you know?
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, Jackie, because I think if we want an airplane sound, and I know this is gonna, like, some viewers are gonna go like, okay, it's so phony, is that right now, as we're talking, our editor could put in an airplane sound. And there's no airplane going over me. I don't think.
Do you know what comes back to me as well? I remember, I mean, during the summer, it was so hot. And I didn't realise, you know, because everybody has aircon, you know, when it's so hot. we weren't allowed to have the aircon on in the property when we were in there. And obviously Jackie and I are wearing the same clothes for 2 days, which was mentioned previously. Oh my God, the heat, you know, there's no respite from it, is there, Jackie?
No.
So, you know, because obviously the sound of the aircon, you know, I just didn't realise that until I was on the show, you know. But it makes sense. It makes sense, obviously.
And we didn't really, because we were a low budget show, we didn't really have the budget to buy a whole bunch of perspirant or whatever you call it. Well, I apologize for that.
Or bring a really good looking, sorry, Edna, or bring a really good looking guy in to fan us, you know.
Do you remember how, well, not only the air conditioning, but the furnaces, fish tanks, refrigerators, freezers, anything with the motor would have to be turned off.
Yes.
And Jason would put his car keys inside the fridge or the freezer, so you knew he couldn't leave at the end of the day without turning it back on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great idea.
That's what sound guys do, because you can forget so many things during a shoot. I mean, I've forgotten so many things. I'm certain that Edna, Jackie, and Alison have forgotten things too. But you've got to remember that you've got to turn stuff back on when you turn it off. And you're right, Edna. The best way to do it is put your car keys on the top of the fridge, because otherwise you're not going to get home unless you turn the fridge on.
Yeah, I think he put them right inside the fridge.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant, noise.
Well, that would be great cold keys, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Cold keys as opposed to a cold case.
I like it. Yeah.
So what did we do, Edna, on what did we do on day 2 according to the call sheet?
Well, the call sheet has you starting the rescue at 6:30. The sunset was at 6:21, so that's appropriate. It's starting to get dark. And it went through to about 8:30 according to the call sheet. That's what they scheduled for it. But I think this one went longer. I think it was a very, it wasn't going to follow any timeline at all.
What was the sunset time, Edna?
6:21.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wasn't 6:22?
No, it's 6:21. We're very precise. The temperature on that day was a high of 7 degrees and a low of -2 Celsius.
I love how they did
me out right now.
with the sunsets and things. I loved how they did the time lapses. They're so good, aren't they? And they're so atmospheric when it's included into the episode. It really adds to, you know, the flavor of what.
I just always have this.
Alison are investigating a farm. As night falls, the rescue mediums.
I just always have this.
The time lapses are often very difficult to film because we have to go out there with the tripod and the camera, and you just like hit play on the camera, and it's got to run for like 2 or 3 hours. And then in the edit suite, they condense it to I don't know, a minute.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy shot to do, and it's not an easy thing to achieve. But I agree with you. It's amazing what our crew has done.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it's very interesting. Occasionally, a rescue was shot during the day, I believe, just because it couldn't be done at night. And I remember blackout curtains would often be used in the house.
Yeah.
To make it dark.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I do.
Okay.
Do you remember what episode would that have been?
Oh gosh, I'd have to really think on that one.
There was a few that happened, and it was mainly due to the fact that the homeowners had to return for whatever reason. You know, there was so they couldn't stay out overnight anywhere, or they had to be back, you know, maybe to do with children, or there was some, or you know, or the animals, even if they had animals. But there was various reasons why. But yeah. I do remember that happening. I also remember being told very early on, and I sort of, this stayed with me the whole time I was filming very early. When we first started doing this, it's like, be careful when you stand next to the window because of the lighting, because, you know, obviously if we're stood in front of a window, then the camera is looking at us. The glare may come back from the window, or it could be that we can't piece it together. The editor couldn't piece it together with something else, because the view outside the window is like, you know, maybe it started to rain within that time frame that they wanted to put the two pieces together. Or, you know, you just don't, it's like when you're taking a photograph of somebody in the stood in front of a window, it's like the lighting is just not right. So I was always very, very conscious of, if we were going to be, just say Alison was being overshadowed by spirit, or because you're in a different mindset when you're working with spirit, if we were to wander out over by a window, and this has only come to mind because we're talking about the lady in this particular episode who would look through the window, she would go as if she was watching for him. We, you know, trying to guide Alison away by just moving her around this way, so that we could carry on the conversation. And it becomes second nature, that, because I know Alison would also get into that mode as well, where she would see me in that position and would sort of move around, or maybe sit down or something, just so that we could break that and make it easier for the camera guys. And then
I didn't understand that. When I first started on the show, I remember you manoeuvring me around a little bit, and I had to face the cameras. But when I'm lost, when I'm gone, do you know what I mean? When I'm sort of with spirit, it's hard to sort of bring everything into being. But then, like you say, and quite rightly, it does become second nature. You get used to it, don't you? There was a lot to learn, but you know, bit by bit, you get there, don't you? And you know, we're a great team, and it worked really well.
Yay!
Well, you know what? I hope we get picked up again, and I think we should ask the spirit if they want to be the directors and the producers. I think that would kick ass.
That would be novel, wouldn't it? That would be great. That would be atmospheric for sure, wouldn't it? Oh, dear. So funny.
So Edna, how long would day 2 be? If I can ask you about day 2. I know day 1 was a really long day. Was day 2 just as long?
Well, we'd start much later in the day, which was good. That gave me time to, because the day before was long and we didn't get very much sleep. I could get up really early and start to put together all the new clues that I was given from day 1. And I'd spend all that time researching and trying to pull things together, and it might be looking better or not. And then on that particular day too, we started at 4 and we probably went close to midnight. And after the rescue, I think no matter what time it was, we would drive back to a location. In this case, I think it was back to my house. It was en route to the hotel. And we would just sit and try and sort it out, because now I can disclose everything to the ladies. As soon as the rescue happens, we're all in it together to figure this out. So I share with them everything that I have. And sometimes it's very clear at that point, and then we're just celebrating with a little glass of something. Otherwise, we're still have a little glass of something and we're trying to figure it out, and know that we have to have everything in place for within 2 days, a day and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
We
Wow,
enjoyed the
that's so sad.
celebrating, Sandy, very much.
What's that?
We enjoyed the celebrating very much
I should
indeed.
hope so. That's a lot of work.
But it was a very hard schedule. It was a very a difficult thing to achieve. And to this day, I'm still amazed how these people managed to do it. Like how Jackie, Alison, and Edna managed to do it. I think the crew was great, but you know, the crew is the crew, and they're used to this. But I'm still astonished by how quickly everything came together.
That's got to be spirit, though, hasn't it? Directing us, as you say.
Definitely.
It's got to be spirit that are pushing us in that way. And sometimes it would be really late us getting back. And mostly we would discuss things in the car. Edna was always bring us back from wherever, and we'd start talking. Then we'd start trying to piece things together. Then, because Edna then knows she doesn't know who it is. She knows what's happened during the rescue, but she may have a clear idea about, okay, it's this person. I think it's this person. We'll have to go and check it out. Well, other times you don't, Edna, do you? Other times it's not that clear, because all the research material you've already done prior, just in case, it's not that person. It's not who you thought it may have been from the pointers that had, come out the day before. And so, wow, that is when you really, really have to start digging very deep, don't you? Then, so
yes.
Really it can end on a very frustrating night for us, even though we've completed the rescue. That bit's good, because we still got to bring it all together.
We have, and like we rooting for Edna, obviously wanting, her to know who it is, or sort of get it and pull it all together. So when it's not who obviously you thought it was, Edna, we felt that as well, didn't we, Jackie? It's obviously being a team, a tight-knit team. And then, of course, if we didn't know, then we couldn't celebrate early, could we? We could only do it once everything was all pulled together. So you're like, I'm only joking.
What was great at that point, if we had no idea of what was going on, Jackie and Alison can help them the next day too, and get on the computer, and we're all pitching in and trying to piece it together. And it really helps.
But what it sounds to me like you've done is you're telling a very human story through the eyes of spirit. So you're giving them an identity. You're giving them their whereabouts. You're giving them how they were, what they did, and how they caused why you're there. You have to tell the homeowner's human story. You have to tell the spirit's human story. And then deal with everybody else physically who's there.
Yes. And the editors were just fantastic. I just remember the very first one that I ever did on the show, and then seeing it back. I mean, I used to watch the early ones, but obviously because I was involved, I was like so excited to see it. And at the end, where Michael says the rescue begins, and that wonderful music comes in, and then, the actors or whoever are portraying what Jackie and I saw, that really does leave tingles down your back, doesn't it?
Can you see the doorway? I'm opening the doorway,
Anything else on call sheet for day 2?
No, just the crew would stay back doing more pickup shots. While we were heading off to my place to sort it all out.
Yes. So I mean, the crew could be there for an hour or so more, couldn't they? If they wanted to do like, just for example, if I was to say, and I think I did in that Brampton episode, is, you know, I can hear like a lady's skirt or swishing of a skirt. So then what they would do to do the pickup shots, they would film, wouldn't they, the lady's skirts. Would that be done on day 2, or would that be done on another day? Would that be day 3 for them?
If it happened during the rescue, they would be doing that now.
Yeah.
Oh, let me correct you on that. No, they do some pickup shots that were easy to do right on the spot.
Yeah.
But if it was rustling skirts, maybe they'd want to get some material or something.
Right.
So they would do that. That would happen on the next shooting day.
Yeah.
They would do more pickup shots.
Yeah, I do remember one of the pickup shots that they would ask us to do is they say the rescue had happened, or we'd gone into, say, an upstairs room, and we were looking out through a window. Then they would say, right, okay, we're going to go outside and we are going to film you looking out through the window. So can you just walk to the window and just look as if it, so that bit would be a pickup shot that they would then slot in just to explain this is what it looks like from the outside when they were walking in the room. So
this premonition made manifest seems to predict a significant
walking, you know, at our feet. They would film our, can we just film you walking past this doorway, and they would just film your feet.
Yeah.
You know, because it was relevant to, it may not have been used. It might be something that wasn't used, but it was there in case the editors wanted to slot it in at any time.
Yeah.
One thing about the dressing code and everything is that if you were wearing crinoline and you were in the southern United States, you would get arrested for rustling.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I can't help myself sometimes.
You know what?
Look at Edna's face.
That is worthy of Rescue Medium's cheers, Michael.
Well, yes, I agree. Yeah, yes, I agree. Shall we do a cheers now? Because
let's do a cheers now. Yes.
Right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Watching. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Andy.
Bye.